Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing another sketchbook tour, this one being my 6th sketchbook. Once again, the materials, or at least most of the materials I use in the sketchbook, will be in the description down below. I've been using the plain bullet journal from Michaels for the past 3 or so sketchbooks, choosing purple as my cover this time around. The paper is great for pencil doodles or water-based marker illustrations, but alcohol-based markers do bleed through. I'll be skipping over the last 20 or so pages since I use those as test pages for my bullet journal or just for studying. If you guys are interested in a mini tour of my bullet journal, definitely let me know. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Right when you open the sketchbook, you're greeted with a plethora of stickers. Some of the stickers come from rice candy packages, others from various rolls of washi tape flakes. I pretty much put any stickers here for reference if I ever wanted to look for a specific cat or petal shape. The next few pages are full of various marker and pen scribbles because I was trying to 1. Figure out what markers were dead, and 2. To create a reference sheet, but I eventually gave up and made a separate sheet for all my markers. Lately I've been trying to get into acrylics and I've been trying to create some illustrations I like, but so far I've only made subpar landscapes. To the side I have some thumbnails, and if you were wondering, yes, I was listening to Welcome to Night Vale while I was painting this, hence, the eye. I got this sketchbook roughly a few days after the last sketchbook tour, and at the time I was taking physiology. There are a few skeletons, both Undertale or otherwise, that are roughly labeled because I was trying to remember all the bones and what they do. A while back on Instagram I did a doodle request and live streamed my process. I made an improvised tripod, aka a bunch of binders, notebooks, and boxes, but didn't really check the angle, so my leg was just in shot all the time. A few of the doodles I didn't particularly like, so I just covered them up with sticky notes and printer paper scraps. When I first started the sketchbook, I really wanted to practice drawing hands, so I took one of my Tombow brush markers and started to randomly make a bunch of hands, not really focusing on the accuracy, but more on the general shape. At the same time, I saw fan artist Orange Side Ego and desperately wanted to draw him, hence the random appearances of Ego with the hands. Over here, I tried out the Bianyo? I'm just gonna go with Bianyo. Over here, I tried out the Bianyo alcohol-based markers. I got these as a gift as well as some white gel pens. That reminds me, over Christmas break, I acquired a bunch of alcohol-based markers ranging from Copics to Spectrum Noir markers. So I'm curious as to if you all want a comparison video. I'll put a poll in the upper right corner, so it would be great if you guys could answer it. Going back to what I said about someone commenting about how I should probably draw more deceit doodles, this spread was dedicated to just deceit. Overall, it was really fun to whip out my Tombow markers, but Inktober happened and, well, you'll see. If I remember correctly, I was listening to a bunch of Vocaloid songs and I decided to draw a bunch of Miku's. I used various highlighters and creative super tips to color her hair, and overall it was fun doodling her pigtails. I think I was getting back into some old fandoms, most of them being RPG indie horror games. At the same time, I was becoming more comfortable with drawing Remus and Deceit, but I don't think I found a great mustache style for him quite yet. And then Inktober came around. I decided to challenge myself to combine 2 Inktober prompts, the official and the standard size prompts by Sanders Art on Instagram. Here you can see, if you can't even see with my phone camera, all my ideas for the combo prompts, but eventually I fell out of the challenge on day 13 or so. I didn't exactly post day 13 because I wasn't very proud of it, and I actually didn't draw day 12 either, so on Instagram you'll probably only see up until day 11 or so, I believe. I was planning to do all the prompts in a sketchbook, but I didn't like how the dots showed up on the final piece, so I found a cheap textured sketchbook which completely ruined almost all of my black Tombow brush markers. So now I'm only down to about like 2 or 3, which kind of sucks. I really wish that Tombow would just sell packs of black Tombow markers, but I digress. At this point, I was really falling back into my old fandoms, and I started to draw a bunch of Eeeeyep, Off, and Yume Nikki fan art. I also fell back into Legend of Zelda, so I drew a bunch of Links, Zeldas, and a few Ben Drowned here and there. This is also where the sketchbook starts to cross over with my bullet journal stuff. Towards the end of the sketchbook, I was starting to get sick and tired of the sketchbook in general. There were just so many pages, and I just kept adding so many scraps over doodles I didn't like that I just wanted to get rid of it. So I started to do a bunch of full-page doodles. I really wish I could have colored this Roman, but the water-based markers, they keep on blending in with the Tombow markers because they're both water-based, so duh. And I really wanted to use alcohol-based markers, but I really like this virtual doodle on the back, so I don't know. For some reason I got into the mood to draw a bunch of Undertale skeletons. I haven't touched that game in years, much less a fandom. I don't know what got into me. After this, I started to put in a bunch of miscellaneous stuff like mini prints and doodles I did on separate pieces of paper. I got these prints when my friends and we all pitched in to get this surprise print bag. It was like 20 bucks, and it had a lot of mini prints, so I just stuck them in here. And yeah, that's the end of the sketchbook tour. Oh, before I forget, this is the first video I've ever made a script for, so I'm curious as to if you guys think it's any better than my previous videos. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See ya!